Great. So welcome everyone to the OpenJS Foundation Standards Working Group. Today is June 29th, 2021. We've got a great group here today and a pretty good agenda. So everyone add yourself to the notes. They are linked in the issue, but I will copy them in the chat. There's Ben adding himself. Okay. That works. Do we have any announcements before we kick off into the agenda? I have one. Wanted to congratulate Jordan Harband again for receiving an ECMA award for his awesome contributions. Woo! Bravo, Jordan. And I saw that hit my inbox today from the ECMA organization as well. So that's pretty cool. Congrats.
Yeah, that's awesome, Jordan. It's a big deal. That's great.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Yeah. Do we have any other announcements? I know we have a CPC working group meeting following this. You're all welcome to attend.
On the Unicode side, so starting to get back into the liaison stuff with them, and I should be joining the ICU and CLDR meetings, which are the kind of both of the things that comprise, you know, the JavaScript INTL object. But was recently invited to join the CLDR, so I'll kind of see both sides of what's going on there and try to report back ways for us to work with them.
What does that acronym stand for us who don't know?
Oh yeah, so sorry, yeah, it's acronyms. So ICU is International Components for Unicode, which is kind of like how Unicode, you know, how things work, and like as you employ it within INTL, which is you know, the internationalization object in JavaScript. So how you do things like date time, you know, or whatever in across different languages, across different regions and globalization and things like that. So international components for Unicode kind of is the glue that makes that work, whereas CLDR is a common locale data repository, and that that is sort of the data behind you know, ICU and how ICU works. So
Cool.
Kind of need both to, you know, like this giant set of data to be able to internationalize things.
Cool, thank you. Great. Let's jump right in. First,
I hope that wasn't an oversimplification, but
no, that was helpful. Thanks.
To make sure that this version is not too simple, the message format working group under the Unicode is technically a subcommittee of the CLDR working group of Unicode.
Got it.
right, it's all kind of interdependent.
Cool, very cool. We don't have Mike Samuel here today, who has the first issue. On issue number 144, requesting 10 minutes to discuss API translation effort. Now, I believe I missed the last meeting perhaps. So did you all have a chance to talk about this yet, or?
So he and I and a couple people from the Node.js Internationalization Working Group and whoever else is interested are going to meet and talk about this sometime soon. So we've been sort of chatting in a DM and trying to set up a time to talk about it outside, because he presented, I didn't get to catch it, but he presented like a couple weeks ago, as he said, and now, you know, so we're trying to set something up with the people who are interested in that and moving forward.
Okay. And you all were here probably a couple of weeks ago on that. So let's see. Do you want to just drop an update in the issue once you have an update? That'd be cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to reach out to him today, and hopefully we'll land on something, and I can keep everybody updated.
Awesome. Okay.
So for the next one, we discussed that in the closed session last week, and I don't remember our consensus or like where we landed. So we should probably revisit it in a closed session today.
Okay. Copy that. We'll move to the next one. Great. Okay, document delegates and delegate approval process, issue number 142. So, Jordan, do you and Emily, do you have a little more context on this issue?
I mean, essentially, my recollection is that we need to write down or decide and then write down what are the criteria for being an OpenJS delegate, what is the process for becoming one, and OpenJS delegate meaning officially representing the foundation in any standards venue. And additionally, we should probably discuss invited experts, because TC39 is probably not the only standards group that has some sort of unofficial participant status.
Mm-hmm.
And so we should kind of, because that can require perhaps lesser criteria, because they're not necessarily like representing the foundation as much as they are, the foundation is volunteering them to go and provide their expertise, right? So sort of as a way to make sure that we are clear and transparent with our policies here, and also so that we can avoid debating about it in these meetings every time it comes up.
That makes
and
sense.
actually related there's a PR number 148 that's open on the standards repo, and there was an open question on that, which was, is the intention to list all of the people in the standards group who participate in standards, or only the people who officially represent OpenJS? So for example, I participate in standards, but I do not officially represent OpenJS in that participation. So the answer to that question dictates whether I'm included in the list in that PR or not, for example. Either way is fine, but we should make a call, I think.
We've had related discussions in the past, and we do have time if you all are comfortable having a little working session brainstorm right now on this topic.
There's also people like me who are in some forums representing officially the OpenJS Foundation, and in others they're just as themselves or for whatever.
Yeah, same in that capacity. You know, like with Unicode, it would be like me representing OpenJS as a liaison member. But yeah, that I've also been on the ECMA 402 or with ECMA 402 before as an invited expert. You know, so I think like kind of defining these terms and what that looks like, and you know, who wants to join via OpenJS is probably a good thing. I mean, Jordan is you know, Jordan like represents things from kind of all angles. So it's just, you know, I don't know.
A closet full of hats.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I definitely, as far as generally, be interested in representing you know, via OpenJS for sure.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it just seemed, since there are considerations about whether someone is a delegate, because like it represents OpenJS Foundation, right? Like, because that their word carries a different weight there. It seems like if we restrict the list to just that, then it will be a short list and it won't provide as much helpful information. So it seems more useful to me if it's just, if, you know, we call out when someone is officially representing them, like when one of the people in the list is an official representative, but it seems more useful to list all of the known OpenJS people who do standards anything and what that standards things are, right?
Yeah.
So like, you know, for like discoverability and stuff, but that, you know, it's a lightly held opinion.
No, I mean,
I agree with Jordan.
Yeah, understanding
Yeah,
the
me
footprint
too.
of what people are doing is really important, so that we can all continually gain context about where people are and what they're doing. So I definitely agree.
Okay, so I'm hearing start by creating that list of everybody who is an active OpenJS Foundation participant, and do an inventory of where they're already participating, and then sort of work backwards from there on when they would be wearing the OpenJS hat.
Yeah, and Jory has that open PR 148 that already largely does that. I'm sure it's missing some folks, but like, feel free to review it and suggestion yourself in there, or people you know are missing. But yeah, so I'll comment on that and just say that we've decided that we discussed and confirmed that it's meant to be all standards adjacent people, and that we will note when they are officially representing the foundation versus not. Cool. And then I think that will help the actual agenda item that we were talking about, which is 142, which is sort of documenting the approval process in the sense that we will want to link from that list to the process that 142 defines.
Okay.
I think this means that we ought to revisit or reaffirm an earlier decision regarding the indexing of this page, whether it is by organization primarily or by person primarily. Because if we are, as we have now effectively decided to expand the scope of what is being listed to being more, that should be effectively redecided, I think, if you understand what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
I'm fine with either way.
Thoughts, folks around the room?
It makes sense to looking at it from an outsider's perspective to list things by the organization or standard that the person's a member of rather than the person. I think that's how people will be looking for it.
And also the person's current affiliation, because that'll change, right? Like over time, the same people tend to stay in standards venues even as they change employers.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
Sounds like good UX to think about it from the reader's point of view rather than the maintainer's point of view. Was there anything left on this topic for us then?
Yeah. So am I hearing it makes sense to list the affiliation, but it's still pivoted on people first?
Yeah, it's like as secondary information. Yeah.
The affiliation is secondary.
Yeah,
But-
like so for my example, it would be
Yeah.
like TC39, and then there would be list all the TC39 people that are in OpenJS, and then for the ones that are official, it would probably be at the top and say like official OpenJS, whatever, and then like the rest would lack that, and then for everyone in that list, it would list like in parens or something like the member company or organization that
Yep.
they are attending via. So like, yeah,
Got it. Copy that. Yep.
something like that.
Great. I'm looking at the PR update member representation. Okay. Okay.
On a related note on this one, I honestly have no idea what my status with ECMA 402 is. Which is kind of okay, but I also wanted to note, I don't know if ECMA 402 considers me a sort of official OpenJS Foundation representative, or whether I'm an invited expert, or whether it's all just very, very fuzzy.
I mean, I think it sounds like you're an invited expert regardless. And then whether you are an official representative of OpenJS is something that we decide in this group.
So for instance, in this sort of case, as I am not aware of having been decided by us to be an official representative towards ECMA 402, in ECMA 402 notes, for instance, a meeting note and so on, how should I note my affiliation there? Is it okay if I continue to note that I'm coming from OpenJS Foundation, or should I actively not do that?
In a general philosophy, I mean, anyone feel free to jump in if I'm saying something they disagree with, but I would say in the general sense, you should put invited expert and not put OpenJS unless you're officially representing it. In this specific sense, I agree that you have not yet been explicitly approved as being OpenJS like official, but I also suspect if you filed such an issue, it would not be a controversial one, at which point listing OpenJS would be fine. Yeah.
So it sounds like the easiest solution to finding out what my status is to officially figure out a status for me that better fits within any given parameters.
That sounds right to me.
Yeah, so ask to be an official representative. It will probably be, approved, and then you can list yourself as affiliated with OpenJS.
Right.
Then I shall endeavor to do so pending some current employment developments that are actively happening that may affect this particular thing that I am not absolutely certain of at this time yet. Sorry for confusing everyone. Keep
No.
going.
No, I get it.
So file an issue, perhaps drop something in Slack if you need a more urgent timing, and shouldn't be an issue, is what I'm hearing.
Cool.
Great. And this could perhaps be a part of, Jory and I have been talking the past week about getting our education webpage up. So this can be a part of that as well. Our goal is to have it done before the end of the summer. So
Nice.
good. Great. If there's nothing further on any open issues, I could stop recording and we can go into a private session. Yep. Cool. Call the meeting to a close.